We started using Sandler 18 years ago. The first month I started, we had a come to Jesus meeting about lack of sales. So the consistency in the whole sales and production so that we could grow. And our owners were always talking about profitability and growth. What we weren't doing was really holding margins, we weren't forecasting well, and none of us were having tough conversations. And the tough conversations, to me, are what allow you to hold your margin and to really forecast accuracy, because you're going to ask the questions that other people aren't willing to ask, that are going to get you the information that gives you a true vision of the sale and opportunity, and know whether you can be confident in it or not. What we used to do is we'd take an engineer out and we'd start talking about SolidWorks, and if somebody said they were willing to look at a demo of it, we would give them a demo. First meeting, we'd show up and just start showing SolidWorks without even knowing what they did. So when they talked about really putting a process in and doing things like the upfront contracts and getting into the pain, and the budget discussion and the decision discussion, I was like, well, that's going to take too long. That's going to slow down our sales. We can't do that. That's not going to work. You can waste your time on bad sales most of your days. And again, what I really feel like is the flip side. Our best reps, our most successful reps, spend the most time on opportunities that have the best chance to close. And there's a story that one of our owners used to say where we had a client that was going to buy 10 licenses of competitive software because the VP of engineering said, if I buy this software, which was a standard instead of SolidWorks, and it doesn't work out, even though I like SolidWorks better and think it's better, I won't lose my job if it fails. But if I buy SolidWorks and it fails, I lose my job. So we're going to go with the competitor. And he heard that from one of his reps, and he said, he called up above that guy and said, we gotta have a meeting. And he went up and they bought. So they had it all sitting there in shrink wrap, not open. 25 days later, and he went up and he had a meeting. He said, this is what your guy said. I didn't think you'd want to make a decision that way, so I wanted to talk to you about it. And then why do you think he made that decision? And the guy said, well, I don't think we should make that decision either. And he goes, well, you can still send it back. You're still within 30 days. And the guy said, well, we're going to do that. It was a big deal because it turned into 80 licenses later. Hearing those conversations and that candor, the language we learned that would allow us to have those conversations, allowed us not to waste time and to really use our times productively. The reason I would pick Sandler is because of the whole mindset change. And I think it's so important because sales is really hard. Sales is hard, and that's why salespeople make a lot more money, because you have to do things that nobody else wants to do, and you have to take rejection so much. And the mindset of Sandler helps you, the training that we took and the mindset that we've gained and the tactics and the behaviors that we've learned over time help us to get through those hard parts so that you can have the success. A lot of sales trainings that I've learned, they say this is the recipe for success, but it never teaches you the way to, it never gets down to the details, like do these things using this language to help you get through the hard parts. And that's what I think Sandler really does. And then once you do that, the mindset change, you're like, I can do this over and over. And I'm different from everyone else. So it's gonna let me stand apart and win business that I might not miss, because they're gonna look at me as different from my competitor. Because if they look at us the same, they're gonna go to price. They're just gonna go, okay, well, I can go either way. And we're always more. So we would never win at that point. But if we can establish ourselves as different, which what I think is what our methodology does, then we will be seen as different, and then we can say this is why our prices are more, and you're willing to pay more.